Okay, so we got the roof panels up on the shed. James, why don't you show a quick picture what they look like up on the shed. Up on the shed, there's roof panels on that side. It looks the same on the other. We're gonna move on to the gable portion and the rake metal, okay? So again, this part is gonna go on the flat face of the rake going down the gable. This is gonna go over the roof, and then this is gonna get screwed down to the roof, and that'll be what, you know, to cover that whole corner up. All right, so for my corner, there's a couple ways to do corners. You can fold it over on itself, you know, by putting two pieces, but we also run our ridge out and close our ridge off too, and so we don't have to really worry about it being sealed up here where the corner folds over. So we're gonna make our corners in two pieces. It'll get, the top up here will get covered by the ridge. So we wanna measure from our peak of our ridge, which is right there where the two trusses, two rafters come together, and we're gonna measure down to the end, whoops, to the end of our metal, and I got 56 inches. But I want an extra inch on that, so I want to make it 56. I'm going to make it 57. So we took our measurement from the ridge point to the end of the metal. We gave ourselves an inch overhang, which was 57 inches. We saw that, and then we measure up from the factory end, 57.5 inches. Sorry, from the factory end up, mark at 57.5. Use your speed square to draw straight lines and just cut that flat flush with your cutters, and you have a nice factory end here. Sometimes people will do foldovers in boxes, but it's a shed, and sometimes shed's about efficiency, and so we're just going to leave it open and exposed, and that's going to give us, we're going to run the edge of our rake's going to be about right there when it's on the roof, and we'll have about an inch overhang. So we're going to go ahead and throw that up there for you. All right, so I'm going to line up my mark here I made with a pencil on my 912, because that's what our picture is. I'm going to line it up with my board there, and then I'm going to look here because I want to get this, come on out here, James. I want to get this level, so I'm going to find the line. I pre-drilled my holes, so it's going to be a whole lot easier to do this. Never use your teeth. That's what my mom always said, but I do it anyways. Get me started there. And then I'm going to find my tape measure, find out what my line is here down. I look pretty flat there still. Yep. I'm going to find out what my line down here, that's 1 3/8. I'm going to go up here, give myself 1 3/8 to keep that profile the same. And since I pre-drilled, made me some pilot holes in the metal ahead of time, I can just go ahead and run me a screw in here. Back it up a little bit. You don't want to go too hard because you don't want to oil can. That means you make the metal all pucker. And and then same thing up top. Come over here. You'll put screws in up the corner metal right into your roof metal. And that's how you do your corners. And you're just going to secure it all down with screws. Make sure I'm at my 1 3/8. And that's it. All right, so we are getting ready to put the foam enclosures on, but I want to show you, we got the corners on, okay? The gable corners. Oh, a little sunny there. There's your corners there. Now we're getting ready to put the foam enclosures and the ridge cap on. James is going to go up and put the foam enclosures on, but what this does, the foam enclosures go over the ribs and under the ridge cap to kind of close it off so you don't get any snow that blows back. So, because on your ridge here, you're going to have the ribs. This is the ridge metal. You're going to have the ribs. Well, you'll see when it's up there, but the ribs will create little voids in there, and those foam enclosures will help close that off so you don't get any rain or wind or snow or whatever that goes back up and in. So James is going to pull down, and this all depends on your ridge cap. So our ridge cap looks like this on the side. Looks like this on the side, okay? So we want to have our foam enclosure in this area here, this flat area, because that's what's going to get screwed down. So if we are from the ridge to that area is 3 inches, we're going to have James put his down at 4, and that's going to put the foam enclosure like right underneath here. So he's going to measure down from the actual, you know, point in the middle of the ridge, not the end of the metal, down 4 inches, and he's going to start putting those foam enclosures on there. They also sell ones that are vented enclosures. These are solid foam or closed cell foam, and they have an adhesive backing to them and the grooves that actually go up over the ribs. But they also sell a foam enclosure that's vented, where it does have holes in it, so you can, so your ridge vent can breathe. Hey James, kind of show them the grooves for the ribs. See how this got little grooves right there. All right, he's gonna start putting them on, and they just stick in place. So one thing you are gonna have to do though is you're gonna, where it begins, you're gonna have to make some kind of cut, because you don't want it over top of the gable corner. All right, you. So like I said, they're self-adhesive, and he's just gonna put them in at 4 inches down, and he's gonna show them where how it kind of hits the, yeah, it hits right there. So he's gonna cut that back right there, and that way the ridge cap fits over, and he may need that end down at this end. But also they are grooved so they connect to each other too at the ends. All right, so there are those are what the foam enclosures look like installed. I know it's a little sunny there, but that is what they look like, and they go right over top of those ribs. Now we're going to start on the ridge cap. Okay, so we're going to start our ridge cap. So this ridge metal is 10 feet 4 inches, which is a lot longer than our roof. So what we're going to do is we're going to prep our end here, and we're going to do a closed ridge cap. And what that means is we're going to take 1.25 inches of this metal away, but we're going to fold in 1.25 inches in. So the ends are going to get 1.25 inches gone. And we'll cut back 1.25 inches there and there, and then here we'll have a little point that we need to bend over and close off the corner. So what that looks like is this. I'm going to use my speed square for this. So we're going to measure in 1.25 inches, and we're going to put a line. It's not really showing up too well because it's pencil, and we're going to go a straight line there at 1.25 inches, whoop, to our spot. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to measure in 1.25 inches. My 1.25 inches is off. There's my 1.25 inches. So I'm going to come to that mark, and I'm going to draw my pencil line. We're going to come in here 1.25 inches. We're going to come over here 1.25 inches. Whoop. Mark that back. We're going to come over here 1.25 inches. You can put a line there and make it a little easier. 1.25 inches there, and then this is going to be a straight line here. So over here, this little 1.25 inch mark here, we're going to draw from this point to that point on an angle. We're going to do the same thing here, from that point to that point on an angle. This will go away, this will go away. So if you can see that will go away when we cut this back. This is going to go away when we cut that back. This is going to be a bend. This will be a bend. This will be a bend. That X there will go away, and this will go away. And I like to just connect my line here so I know kind of a reference and where all my bends are going to happen. Okay, so don't need the square no more. So this is going to get cut away. That's going to go away. Going to cut this up here. This is going to go away. Get rid of that. And this is going to go back to the 1¼ mark right there. Okay, I'm going to step on this side. And verify my sides are lining up. This one's a little bit more than it should be. That's very important that you make sure that you're not cutting off more than you should, because then it won't connect the way it needs to connect. Sometimes you hear some Star Wars effects. Alright, now we'll use our brake to bend these in, like so. Like so. We could probably use a smaller brake. Our brake's a little too wide, so you got to kind of work it a little bit. But we're going to fold that in like so. And so when you look down at the end, this is going to cover up over that ridge. When it points down, it's going to cover all that in. It's going to close all that in instead of leaving it open. All right, so we're going to take this ridge cap, put it up there, and we're going to screw through here in through the ribs with 2-inch screws. So, and then that's what's going to tie the top portion of our metal down and these down. And then you're going to, this will go over top of the foam enclosures. Also, on our corner metal where it's flat, we're going to stick a bead of silicone right here on our flat metal, so that when this goes down, there's silicone against the flat, gable metal to give it a little bit of a seal. All right, and we're gonna go put this up. Okay, so here's the ridge cap on. As you can see, those foam enclosures fit up underneath. Okay, and we're gonna add some silicone. We're gonna add some silicone here underneath and here underneath, and then we're gonna add our 2-inch screws through the flange, or through the ridge cap, into the ribs going down. These are the ribs. So the 2-inch screw is going to go through that, through the rib, and into the roof, and that's how we're going to secure it down. And we're going to go every other rib with a screw, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so the ridge cap is on, and that metal roof is on, and that's it. That's what it takes to put on a metal roof. All done.